Hi, assalamu alaikum people. Welcome back to the Jollof after Jummah podcast. It's episode 35. My name is Ibrahim. Ibs, yeah.
Family. Assalamualaikum. Abdul Malik. Jollof boy. Don't talk with your mouth full, it's not good.
Assalamu alaikum. Abdul.
How are you?
Yeah, calm. Nothing to report.
Nothing to report.
No.
The
Euros are starting soon.
I've got alhamdulillah.
I'm excited for
missing
that.
football as well.
Yeah.
But I've got something to report. Yeah. So I've got a little something, and it's not a rant, but it's like basically, so my contact details were given to somebody to talk about trying to sell me some sort of package. So I don't know the details of it, and this is partly why I'm a bit frustrated. But I believe it was to do with like life insurance, innit? Something along those lines, or family protection plan or something. I think that's how it's been sold, which is cool, So one thing I hate, I don't like speaking on the phone, innit, to people. That's just me. Huh?
Why?
I don't know. I get,
Fair enough.
like, I'm one of those people that, you know, when you're like, oh, you're meant to call somebody, or like, you need to call this person to sort out this. I'm one of those people that, if there's anything I will, what's the word? Procrastinate on.
Okay.
It's calling someone I'm meant to call.
Yeah.
To do something. That's one of my habits, and it's my bad habits, but yeah. And,
I hear that.
and if I see a round number that I don't recognize, it's rare that I'll pick up.
Sure.
I just don't like it. I hate being trapped on the phone. It's my worst thing.
How do you get trapped on the phone?
You saw me when I walked in. I was like it was actually. It's like I'm in pain, physical pain.
Okay, fair enough.
I hate it so much. I never used to be like that as well. I don't know where it came from, but yeah. So it was like, oh, they're gonna call you and they're gonna talk to you about it, blah blah blah. And fair enough, taking Abdullah's advice from last week, I said, let me just think about my family in the future. Obviously, I'm a bit skeptical because insurance we spoke about before, uncertainty, riba, all that type of stuff. So obviously it's like you're taking it with a pinch of salt, but obviously it's like, let me hear it out in it, because maybe it's something that's packaged in a way that's going to be acceptable, whatever. So I get the call, and the first thing essentially I'm asked about is my opinion on insurance, and
That's just a red flag.
yeah, exactly. So I said no. I said, to my knowledge, best of my knowledge. And I tried to, you dumb yourself down, because I don't want to get into a debate. So I'm not really that sure, but based on what I know, insurance is haram for the reasons I said just now. And he goes on to say, okay, and is it? He says, is it because of a garage?
Next time, inshallah. Next time, inshallah. Don't say it's haram. Just in case, just say from my opinion, it's problematic.
Yeah, I think the word that I used was, to my this is how I always say it. To my knowledge, it's something that should be avoided.
Stay away from. Yeah.
That's the word, and that's the exact thing I said. And he was like, oh, because of Quran and riba. I was like, oh yeah, exactly. And he said, let me ask you a question. And I was like, oh, I know what you're gonna ask me. Do you have car insurance? I was like, yes, I have car insurance, because it's not legal to drive in this country without car insurance. And then he went on a 10-minute, monologue about something. I kind of was phasing in out, but there was lots of hadith and lots of
This is a situation where you need to be harsh. I'm just saying, if it was me, I would have. Boy.
Yeah, but a person and
it would have been such a long conversation.
And the reason I wasn't harsh is because this is a referral based on somebody who's very dear and respected to me, who's given this person my contact details out of love. So I'm not going to disrespect this person, because they're representing a senior, an uncle who's very
understandable.
He's very dear to me.
You don't need to be disrespectful.
And he's very important to me as well. Yeah, but I want to hear him. Remember, I said I want to hear him out, but at the end of the day, I want to hear him out. But what I didn't want to hear is all of the waffle, which is what I'll get to in a second. But there's a line in it. Sometimes, obviously, you don't know what you're gonna learn from somebody, but also you don't want to waste your time in it. So it was trying to find that balance. So I listened a bit. And eventually I got to the point where I was like, big man, at the end of the day, you've said a lot of stuff in it, but I don't know what I don't actually know what you're actually even offering me.
Yeah.
Because I believe you called me to try and sell me something in it.
So he's called you and he's just basically gone on to kind of a spiel of why what he's doing is okay, but he hasn't actually told you what he's doing.
And at the end of the day, if I picked up the phone and I said my stance on insurance, insurance, no problem, that's fine. You wouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, so if I believe insurance is fine, then you're gonna withhold all this information.
Yeah. So just based off that, I don't need anything you're selling.
Exactly. Because to me, that's why I'm like, it feels a bit booky. Because if I said insurance is fine, you would just carry on doing what you're doing. If I've said insurance is, or I've implied that insurance isn't fine, and you've now set on your escapade of trying to prove to me that is fine.
To prove that what you're doing is okay.
Yeah. So you're the intent. So okay, are you when you trying to convince me that insurance or whatever you're doing, that bear in mind he hasn't even explained what he's actually selling, is fine. Yeah, it smells a bit fishy. It's because if you're trying to educate me, your intention should be like to help me. But it sounds like what you really want to do is just get me to maybe buy something or whatever. Yeah. And it may be not for my best interest. So do you because obviously it's money I have to make. So when someone selling something, my interest is not even, my best interest is not even going to be, it's not always going to be
your concern, your priority. Yeah.
But at least you got to at least dress it up a little bit. It was such a
even if it isn't your priority, at least maybe you think it is.
But it's like I feel like so I just said, right, you know what, send me whatever it is. I'll read it, and then even when I said that, he was like, oh yes, I'll send it to you, and if you get your shake, if you give me their number, your mum number, I'm like, big man, like this is trying to be fatwas, like it's not that deep. But anyway, so I'll update you in next calls, man. But it's
interesting.
When it comes to working, profession, whatever, and I guess it's a general thing for anyone in life. Like if you feel like you have to justify whatever you're doing to everybody in terms of the permissibility of it, or you're constantly in a state of having to fight, you probably should just stop doing it.
Do you know what this makes me think about? This is completely unrelated. But what it makes me think about is
people following their desires.
Not even that. It's completely unrelated. It's the difference between, because I would imagine that the person, if that's his job, if that's his 9 to 5, I would imagine that the kind of job he's doing is he's probably either self-employed, or the money he makes is kind of based off commission and like bonuses and stuff like that. Yeah. So what that makes me think of is just a question really, like, would I rather be, or would anyone rather be self-employed in the sense where they have to get all of their money out of making sales for people and their income relies on that, or just have a normal 9 to 5 where your salary every month is guaranteed?
What would you rather?
Yeah. And this is a good question, I think, for us, because we have a mix.
Repeat the question again, bro.
So, would you? Obviously, I can't. It's okay. Let me not say would you rather, because obviously we're already all in our job, so it's not would you rather because we've made our choices. But like, basically, what are the benefits? I don't even know. It's weird. I don't even know.
I think what you said the first time was fine.
You think? Yeah. Basically, I just said, would you rather be self-employed, where in a sense that all of your income is based on the sales you're making, or have a paid salary, and where your salary is guaranteed every month? And why would you rather do one more than the other? That's what that just makes me think of.
Whoops.
Start from right to left, yeah?
What, me? Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
we're all on his right.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're to my left.
He asked
no, for me it will have to be sales, inshallah. I mean, what am I saying?
Like, based on sales.
I'm used to saying inshallah. I don't know why. Last couple of days it's been mad. Not that I haven't been saying inshallah, but yeah, I'm close. I'm not trying to do a sales job. I would be there. For me, It'll have to be the sales one.
What?
Because for the main reason being my salary's not capped.
When you say sales,
I believe in my source and I know I put in work and I know there's no other inhibiting factors, there's no other limiting factors. I know my craft in it, and if I know what I'm capable of, I should be able to make. There's no ceiling to my limit, if that makes sense. No one can stop me.
When you say sales, do you mean
Inshallah.
sales within as in maybe like a sales job, or sales as in like?
So basically, think of it like car dealers.
Could be anything. Really.
Commission.
Yeah, because
I feel like when you're in that line of work, you don't have the luxury to just kind of sit back and know there's going to be money coming in. You have to graft for your money every single month.
If I had
most
a job,
of these people are working as self-employed. On paper.
If I wouldn't want to have a job where I relied on commission, like a phone shop type job. That to me, that's the worst type of job.
Because it's not guaranteed.
That's the worst type of job.
Because I've met people.
For me anyway.
I've met grown men. That rely on stuff. When I was working in,
most of the car sales people,
when I was working in
estate
Moss
agents
on Oxford Street, they suits in it. They made commission of suits. They were grown men working in those stores, and not even managerial roles, like just normal sales, supporting families off that type of job.
You'll be surprised how many.
So you could see that these men were serious about their money, and you could see how they had to grind for their piece.
Because to me, part of a job, or part of what makes a job, if you were gonna say what are the pros and cons of being a job versus being self-employed,
you lose a lot.
You're basically, it's almost like the worst of both. Like working in sales and commission, because it's like you have to be there at 9 o'clock. You have to turn up. You have to be professional. You have to follow the rules of somebody else. But at the same time, your money is still based on how you personally, solely based on your personal performance.
100%.
Which is a bit of a shag. I don't know. For me, like that's the worst type of job. That's the worst type of job. Like phone shop, working in retail, like suits, that type of thing, a car salesman. And it's not even to say that I couldn't do it, because I actually think, like based on my history and stuff, sales, I'm actually alright at that, innit?
Yeah,
I'm quite good at it, but the stress of it, it's not, because if you're going to do that, you might as well just, obviously it's not that easy, but you might as well do anything.
But another thing is,
obviously it's not that easy,
you need to look at a lot of these people that are in these positions. I know a lot of people that are in such positions, and a lot of them see this as a temporary thing. So it's kind of a mindset thing. A lot of these people in these such positions, if you speak to a lot of them, majority of them don't see that position, that situation as a permanent thing. They're seeing that as a way to start their own thing.
I'm telling you, I've seen grown men, man.
But that's probably because they get
stuck. I think you're just
men, not 30s.
Yeah, I think you've come to the realization, because I've known this from young. I think you come to the realization that maybe you met some people that are grown, but it's always been like that.
What do you mean?
I think you've not come across many people that are in such situations, but you'll be surprised how many people in daily life you meet who are in such positions. Like,
in what positions?
As in, kind of commission-based jobs.
Okay.
There are a lot of people that are doing such things.
Yeah.
Like if you think of all the car salesmen, all the estate agents, all the countless occupations operate like this.
I don't understand what your point is.
No, because you're saying you're surprised that grown men are doing this.
I wasn't surprised. No.
You said multiple times that grown men are doing this. Grown people are doing this.
Yeah, but my point was... What was my point? I've forgotten.
I think maybe you see it as a...
No, I wasn't surprised to see it. It was just...
see it as a young person's thing. Obviously...
And that's what I'm saying. You'll be surprised how many people work like this, live like this.
And you know,
and maybe you see it that way because in your head, people that live that...
I thought you meant what Abdul said as well, by the way. The point. But anyway, go through the...
I think it's because in your head, maybe because in your head, that's a young person's kind of lifestyle. That's a young person's occupation. You see it as, if you're doing that, you're not making much money. But a lot of people, especially the grown people that you're talking about, they're making a lot of money.
No, I'm sure they're making money, because if you're here and you're supporting your family, you must be making money. You're not going to stay in a job that doesn't pay you if you're not making money.
I'd be surprised.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, but most of the young people
leaving
doing
a job
this,
and stuff is not always that easy.
Yeah,
like moving around is not.
Look at COVID. A lot of people doing these jobs would have been making a lot of money, and then suddenly, look, there's brothers within that, some of the older brothers that at one point were making zero. If I was to say, they wouldn't have a problem with it, but there's no benefit to me saying this. There's a couple of the brothers that went from making decent money. They got families, we know this, but they were making nothing during COVID, and that's because they were on one of the brothers I'm thinking of, he was contracted, so he was under contract. He's employed, but he's self-employed, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he works under.
Careful, not too much detail.
I don't know, man. Yeah. Anyway, he was employed, but he was self-employed. It doesn't sound like it makes sense, but that's what it was.
Like,
there's no safety net with working, with being conventionally employed to being commission based or bonus based.
I'll caveat what I said as well.
Yeah, sorry. That's one thing that I realized during COVID as well, and why I was so grateful and so thankful to Allah, because like, you always think you know what's best for yourself, and Allah will just show you that you don't know anything.
100%.
Always think you know. I remember when I first got out of uni, I wanted to locum. I didn't want a permanent job. I wanted to locum because I knew where basically kind of like contracted,
contracts.
yeah.
Okay.
But they get paid more basically. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to locum, and I wanted to just stack peas, and that's.
I went and worked at Boots for one day to cover. That's locum.
Yeah.
So like 0 hour contract.
So imagine like, so I could locum at. So see, I work at a hospital.
Basically, you're being out there.
It's like a contract, but
it's like a
shorter term contract. Yeah. So, but it could be a day. For like pharmacy, it could be a day. But at that day, you're getting paid at probably double the rate of like someone
like a normal salary. So that's all I wanted to. I just wanted to stack, and to the point where I think
it's the fast lifestyle.
Yeah,
it's the stacking.
But that's all I wanted to do. And then obviously I got my permanent job, which was alhamdulillah, it was really good. And at the end of the day, it turns out that it was better than locum. And as soon as COVID hit, because we have locums work for our company. So as soon as COVID hit, the man just got cut. So I was thinking, imagine I was a locum at this time. I would have been sitting at home with no job, no income. But alhamdulillah, during COVID, I think I mentioned on the pod before, I was getting paid even more than I was getting paid normally. So it's just, I think, that's kind of not the nugget for the episode, but a nugget that Allah always has a better plan, and you just always have to kind of just trust in the process.
Allah's the best of planners.
I'll say
I understand what you mean.
Work out for most jobs, like my advice generally would be start off in a
permanent role, just
for the sake of structure.
Yeah. All of the benefits I've seen as a permanent job
for your first
rather
job.
I know.
Unless you got other plans like
it was just like you said, that young fast life and wanting to make money. That's why I wanted to do what.
But I understand what you mean now. I understand what you mean in regards to the old grown people doing this. Because obviously, when you're young, you don't have responsibilities. You don't need that safety net. Well, you do obviously, but when you're living with parents and stuff and you have low overheads. But when you're grown and you've got responsibilities, you've got children, you've got people to take care of, you need that safety net because you're responsible for other people. So I kind of see what you mean now.
My mum was telling me the same thing, and I wasn't trying to hear it. I wasn't trying to hear anything about a permanent job. My mum was telling me the exact same thing, that you need. She was telling me that you need that structure and you need that. You need basically that safety net of kind of thing. And it was little things. It was things like holiday pay, sick pay, stuff like that as well. Like
even basic stuff, need that. Gym memberships,
and I wasn't trying to hear any of that.
Private health,
alhamdulillah.
And like just like, wait, did you say basic stuff? Gym memberships?
No, he said gym membership. I said holiday pay.
He said
basic benefits.
That's not basic benefits.
Basic benefits, bro.
Bro, gym memberships like £20 a month.
Yeah, but that's not. No, but you said it like your
Not from a job.
Private
You
health.
said private healthcare for me. What jobs give you
Not from a
private-
job.
Well, not what job.
My
but-
employees have private
I have
health.
private
not
health
most,
as well.
not most.
Don't know about you.
So man has to jump on MD.com after the podcast. Yeah. No, yeah. One thing I'll caveat because I didn't really make this clear that when it comes to bonuses and like bonuses and commission, yeah, like it sounded like I was kind of parring it. When I'm parring, no, I'm not parring it at all. But there is a clear difference between careful and warehouse where you're basically earning less than minimum wage type thing plus commission and working in, I don't know, like pharmaceutical sales like a couple of my boys do, or like oil and gas, like some.
When you say pharmaceuticals like my boys do, you actually mean pharmaceuticals like
no,
your friends do.
real pharmacy, like as in Pfizer and that
9 to 5.
AstraZeneca and them man there, yeah.
Oh wait, not
yeah.
9 to 5.
Yeah, because if it's a good wage plus bonuses for incentivized, doing what you're doing,
yeah.
that's different from if you don't sell, then you're
not bringing anything in.
You've got enough to buy a gig bread and things, like that's it. Like, there's a difference in it.
AstraZeneca, not Zeds and Astra.
which is a lot, which is a thing.
Whenever you have,
I would have mad still. But yeah, man. It's long, man. Just do you think it's interesting because someone even said this to me, or Mrs. said this to me, that it's like, oh, you boys talk a lot about money.
We do, because at the end of the day, we're providers and we're gonna be the ones taking care of.
Do we? Do we?
I think boys talk about money because, for example,
No, but did she say that in relation to the pod?
No, she wasn't talking about the podcast.
Oh, okay.
But because for example, I was at my cousin's house yesterday.
No, as men.
Yeah, and then so for okay, let's say, after how I left early last week with the man them. You're going with the man there. What's the topic of conversation? Crypto and like jobs or whatever, like industries. Then the next week I'm at my cousin's house, which is yesterday, and we're chilling and whatever. And then one of the cousins showing like his portfolio and being like, oh yeah, this is like teaching his brother and his other younger cousin, like, and it's like it's a thing that with the man then it's constantly
money,
peas, and it's like, is it too much or is it just out of necessity? Because it's obviously out of necessity, but
here's the thing.
Yeah.
Men and women, the reason why, I'm not going to say men talk a lot about money, but the reason why men may talk about making money way more than females is because men, at the end of the day, understand that they're going to be the ones spending more time making the money than females. Females are not going to worry about spending more, a lot of time making an income and stuff to provide for their family. Well, not in relation to men.
It's not the bottom line for them. Well, it's not.
Whereas to us, it's either we do this or it's nothing. If we do this or we fail. That's it. So of course we're gonna spend more time thinking about it, more time doing it, more time planning ahead in regards to funding a lifestyle for our children and our wives.
And I think it is. I feel like with the way life is, and I don't know, there's various reasons for this. But I think your peace of mind is linked to
how much money is in your bank account,
basically.
Yeah.
Because imagine if you had zero pounds in your account right now. Yeah.
I'd be uncomfortable.
Exactly. You can't imagine if this happens. You cannot be.
Yeah.
It's not even £0 in your account if you're not making money. I'll tell you right now, I was stressed last year, bro. I was stressed. And the thing is,
or making money.
And the thing is, for me in my situation, I had to balance. It's not just even the amount of money I have in my account. It's the fact that I'm not making money. The fact that I could be making money, but for the sake of other reasons, I had to decide to. Okay, so my situation was I either pay myself a lot of money, or my staff get paid. The business moves forward, and it doesn't basically effectively crumble. And it wasn't even, to be honest, it was an easy decision because what I would have paid myself is not. I'm talking too much, but anyways,
You're not doing this.
basically,
Say your chest now.
Basically, when you're in such a position where, and this is the thing, this comes back to what we were discussing in regards to being self-employed or being living off a commission, sales and whatnot. And that's why I said I understand you in regards to having the worst of both worlds, being employed on paper, but also having to living effectively like you're self-employed. Because at the end of the day, you don't get as much benefit. You don't get a lot of benefits from you would if you were doing either or. If that makes sense. My situation, there's no safety net, and not only that, I've got people under my responsibility. Like it's either not pay people, have people on furlough or worse, or exactly face what is it called? Tribunals.
Yeah.
And basically the business crumble, or pay myself a lot of money, which I was entitled to do. And
what type are you allowed to, or what are you able to, what type of business this is?
it's the same one.
As
What do you mean?
The one you mentioned before.
Yeah, the one in Wandsworth.
yeah, okay.
The tech solution.
Yeah.
So, I'm talking too much, but in a nutshell, yeah, when you're on such a, and this is why, again, like one of my favorite Sahabas, Umar radiyallahu anhu was a natural leader. Like, he was a figurehead. He took leadership at every opportunity, and he led people. And when you're in such a position, it's very hard to. I'm struggling to put it, but there were times, basically. Remember when there was times where I was like, "Don't bother me with this nonsense," because I got a lot going on. I had my daughter coming. I'm not making no money. Alhamdulillah, I was in a position where I was able to make ends meet, but there's a lot of stuff going on, and it does stuff to you mentally, especially when you're, again, coming back to talking about money. When you're the man of the house and you've got a family and you've got nothing to fall back on, it's not gonna be.
I have something to ask you based off that.
Yeah,
and
I'm waffling now, but I'm sorry.
I have something to ask you, and I'm gonna try and make it as generic as possible. Now, this was something that me and a couple of other brothers were discussing, and it came from relation to, we were just talking about last week's episode of the podcast, and yeah, we bounced off that and we went on to a different topic. Now, the situation you're describing, do you feel like you might have found that a little bit easier to navigate and to deal with if our community was more open? Now,
in what sense?
I'll explain exactly what I mean. So, I feel like, and I think this might be a little bit weird for people to comprehend, because it's a completely different way to the way we operate as a society and as a community now, and we can have a different discussion about that, whether we think it's wrong or not, but it is a different way of thinking. Now, I feel like at the moment, and I'm basically gonna be kind of repeating what me and the other brothers were talking about, so shout out to them. But basically what the thing was the way we kind of are as society, and we're as a community, and the kind of way that we're programmed, is that everyone's business is their own business, and we don't always tell other people what's going on with ourselves for whatever reason. We will have a myriad of different reasons as to why we don't tell other people our business, but that's just the way we are as people. We don't, most people are. Especially,
are you talking about success or stuff in general?
No. Just in general, we don't always share our business.
I was gonna say that's more of a British thing. I've noticed this, because if you see Americans are loud,
because it takes the camera out of focus when you do that.
Americans are loud in regards to success. I realized this a couple of weeks ago.
So not just success, but just in general as people, and especially I think in our community, and I'm talking about our community because our community is what I know. I don't know other communities, but as our community, we are we're close, but we're also quite closed off. We don't always
sheltered.
We don't share our business. Like there will be people and I can think of examples in my head, not anyone in particular, but there are people that I might have known from as a child, but I can still learn new things about you. Yeah. So as a community, we're together and we're united, but we are still quite closed off. Now,
do you think, just on that, just to further that, do you think that's more apparent in the, obviously we're part of the Nigerian black whatever community, we're also part of the Nigerian Muslim community. Do you think that's more prevalent in the Muslim community than the just Nigerians as a whole?
I still don't understand what you mean, to be honest.
I'm getting to it. I think it's more in the Muslim community. Like I said, I can only describe what I know. I think it's in the Muslim community. So yeah, so we're quite closed off.
You can't feel it.
That's my house.
So yeah, we're quite closed off as people. So now, do we think that that is wrong? Like I said, people have a myriad of reasons as to why they don't tell other people their business, but there are other ways to do things, and those other ways might be better. Could our society, could our community function a lot better and do things in a better way and basically do things in a better way if we were more open? If we were, as a community, someone is having a problem and we can bring it to the table and discuss it and find a way to help that person, because the way you do something is different to the way I might do something, or the way that Abdullah might do something, and you might have a problem that is ripping up your life and is messing you up, but I have a way that can solve that very, very easily. Yes. So is there benefit, or could there be benefit in a much, much different way? That's just how we're currently programmed as society to do things as a community in the open. And if you remember, we had something like this conversation in the Nights Out chat last year, where someone brought something to the table about his situation, and he was like, we could benefit if we did things in this way rather than doing things in the way that we do things now and being closed off and not knowing things about each other.
Yes, I've had this thought multiple times. Then, from where I stand, so there's a. I think it's the reasons behind it are multi-faceted, because first of all, I'd say, and that's why I asked about the Muslim community and the non-Muslim community. I think first of all, when it comes to speaking out your business, there's a couple of kind of rulings or principles Islamically that will always pop into your head. The first of which is, for this most simple, is, for example, backbiting. So a lot of the time when it comes to a situation where that involves, if somebody's suffering something negative or suffering some sort of situation, especially when it comes to personal life, home life, a lot of the time it may involve another party, and a lot of the time it may involve what they perceive to be negative actions or negative things from another party. So to share those, it may, and this may be due to a lack of knowledge of what exactly constitutes backbiting, or just due to the fear and the striving to avoid backbiting, they may avoid it for that reason. There's also just a case of one of the other principles, in that the issues or the goings on of a family within the house generally should remain in house. And so, you know, what the Prophet used to say about the women who would constantly, some would constantly kind of leave the house and complain about their husbands. It was something that was seen as a negative on them, or the ones that complain about their husbands, that type of thing. And amongst other things. So when you have, because of that, and this is not me saying this is why it is and it should stay like this. This, what I'm saying is that when people think of, and sorry, just going on another one is the evil eye. That's another one. That's a big one when it comes to. So
I forgot to mention this as well when I was talking about. Remember we were talking about why I wouldn't talk. Why wouldn't? I think it was something in regards to why I wouldn't want to be telling people about my work. Why wouldn't want people? Why wouldn't it be want? I think we're talking about why people shouldn't know who my wife is or something along those lines. Why?
Yeah. So this even so because of these principles, what they do is they lend all these three things, and this is due to either maybe a lack of understanding, incorrect application, or just a desire to ensure that you adhere to all of these principles, can lead to what seems like a kind of closed off, walled off society.
Okay, I understand everything you said.
Yeah,
and
this is not me agreeing with
yeah,
that,
I know.
but
I believe there are ways that things that can be done and avoid all of those things.
Okay, I agree with you as well.
Yeah,
but that's just my basic observation. And another thing is
when I describe this community, I don't mean that you have an issue in your household and you're telling every Tom, Dick and Harry.
Yes.
It could be a group of 5 brothers that you know each other extremely well, you trust these people and you trust their character. Yes. And you know that if you tell these people that they're not going to backbite, you're not going to get any kind of evil eye from them, because these are people that their mouths are moist with the names of Allah. So you're not gonna get any kind of evil eye from them.
100.
And they're gonna advise you to the best of your interest, because again, you know these brothers, you know their character. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a widespread community of 1,000 people where now everyone knows your business. It can be a very, very small group of people, but that's still a community.
But still, what if number one, because people are different. What if number one, somebody is not the type of person to be putting their business out there? They're closed. They're just very private. And number two, what if the person knows that even if there's a group of, let's say, 3 brothers that he has in mind to discuss something about, none of these 3 people can help him with his issue?
Yeah, do you want to answer that?
There's like, what if he knows that? Because
I can answer that.
As a Muslim, we operate on, if I'm going to discuss something with X, Y, and Z, there needs to be a benefit to it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, don't do it at all.
There's two sides.
So what if there's
two sides to that? Because sometimes there's one, and it's the kind of thing that you said at the beginning of in your opening statement. The kind of response to what Abdul just said, in that you don't always know how able somebody is to help you. For example, you may not know that this person has gone through the same thing and has the exact answer to deal with what you've gone through.
Exactly.
But the feeling that he can't help, that the automatic assumption that someone can't help you, which I generally generally against that. It goes back. Remember when we were talking about influencers and influencers on that I don't like to just assume that someone can't, the capabilities.
And sorry, before you finish, there may just because you believe that and you might know that person can't help you with whatever problem you're dealing with. I believe that sometimes if something is bothering you, if something is stressing you out,
it will make it better.
Yes, there is even benefit to just for yourself. There's benefit,
yourself,
and I can, from personal experience, that when you have stuff that's on your mind that's stressing you out, and you might think that you have a lid on it, but it will affect you in ways that you don't realize. And there is benefit in just getting it out there.
Yeah.
So there may be personal benefit. It might not help your problem, but it's personal benefit. Anyway, finish.
Yeah. What was I saying? I kind of lost my trail. But it's alright. But just going even back to what I was saying before, in that, on top of the reasons I mentioned, I think there is an innate, like, so the shame, for example. People are often people. So shame is something that we've seen in communities. I don't need to be specific. In communities that have less shame, where it can lead so that oversharing, lack of any type of privacy, just a complete lack of pride in how you're perceived, and dangers of that. But then when you go too far the other way, it can lead to an almost paranoia. And within a community where, so for example, evil eye isn't a thing that exists, so we all know it's there. However, evil eye shouldn't. So I'd say, like, as much as we were warned about the evil eye, But at the same time, we are also encouraged. For example, if we get married, we're meant to. There's benefit in in having a party and a big gathering. Do you know what I mean? So, but people like to only take the evil eye side, the knowledge from the evil eye side, the wisdom from that, and ignore the other aspects in Islam or from the Sunnah that suggest or that warn of the or indicate the benefits of communal. For example, an Eid doesn't say, it says wear your best clothes. It doesn't say wear clothes that are only good enough so that people are don't feel bad that your clothes are nice. Do you know what I mean? Stuff. So there's both sides to it, but people only, when you focus too much on the negative side, it kind of breeds a bit of a paranoia which kind of exists. So and another thing is, in our community, for example, I'd say another thing that we can not suffer from is the fact that a lot of the time, because people are lumbered together due to proximity, due to being the same religion, it doesn't always necessarily mean that the personalities within it are so compatible that it means that you're all going to be busy mates just because you're all Muslims. Yeah. So you love each other for the sake of Allah, but it doesn't mean that you are necessarily that compatible with regards to everything. Yeah. So sometimes there's a misconception from some people that oh, you're all brothers, so you're all supposed to. So I can just say everything, and clearly you're all brothers. But so sometimes there's a bit of a there's a bit of this kind of not fake, but like false sense of community security. But it's like,
I think it is. There's a false sense of trust.
It's not false, but there's limitations to it that people don't always want to accept. Not limitations, but there's lines that people don't accept. For example, we just because we're all the same age and went to the mosque together doesn't mean that our relationships are all the same. Yeah. Yeah. Do you get me? So some people within that, so I think there are very much people, for example, that are going to be more happy to trust. So you said our community. This is
what I feel like. Okay, I hear what you're saying, but I feel like what I'm saying. Okay, maybe in my head it's implied, but maybe I should have explained it. But I did kind of explain it, but in my other example. But I feel like in the kind of community I'm talking about, all of that is implied. That it's gonna be you. I'm in no way suggesting that you tell people your business that you don't trust, or that these are people that aren't smart. You're not. Yeah. I'm not implying. I'm not. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm not. Yeah, I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you should just be telling and just start talking your business. It will always be with people that you know and trust, and you know their character. More importantly than anything, you know these people's character. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. And again, it doesn't have to be a big group of people if that's not what you're comfortable. It can be a small group of people.
Do you think competition comes into it at all?
Competition.
So people wanting to competition / shame, like people wanting to be perceived as
someone that has everything intact.
That everything's intact.
Everything's successful. Maybe
their lives, they've got everything done, nothing's going wrong.
Yeah.
So for example, a biggest example. I can't really. Okay, let me. I'll say that. Okay, so imagine, you have an issue with you. You have an issue with who imagine you have an issue with who you're.
I think that's a deeper issue.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Based on. Okay, let me. Okay,
that's more an issue. That's more an issue with public perception.
I'll give an example that's kind of, you can relate it to us, but it's a bit separate from us. Imagine, somebody got married to somebody who the people, the masses, would have not been happy or not advised you to marry somebody. This person, for example, imagine your friend said, "Don't marry this type of person," or someone from here. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Or your aunties said you should marry this type of person. Yeah. If you have issues in said marriage, it'll be very difficult for you to go back to said community and look for solace, even though or look for help with these issues.
I think that's the issue with trust, because if you trust
certain people, I get what you're saying, but
if you feel comfortable and you have trust with the auntie or whatever, then you should always trust them to have your back and know that regardless of what happened, again, I should be able to come back to you. Regardless of How many? Look at our parents. How many times have you done?
But for the sake of the narrative that they're pushing,
that he's
it's
pushing.
only going to get worse. So if they said, for example, mad example, don't marry a Jamaican, yeah? When Nigerians, don't marry a Jamaican, yeah? And your aunties, to go back to that auntie and say something maybe about, all it's going to do is feed into the narrative.
Feed into what narrative?
The narrative of don't marry Jamaican.
Don't marry Jamaicans.
Wait, repeat that again.
So imagine I have auntie...
So Auntie X told you not to marry a Jamaican. You went and married a Jamaican and you're having issues.
You have issues that have nothing to do with her being Jamaican. One of your reservations about going to Auntie Fatima is going to be... It's not even that she'll say I told you so, but it's gonna make that narrative worse or feed into that narrative
of don't marry Jamaicans that she already had in her head.
In that moment, you don't care about that stuff. You're not caring about feeding into what narrative. You're caring about finding a solution.
That's what he's talking about, though. And again, this is what I'm saying about things.
That's not how people think necessarily.
I'm talking about how people think. In that situation, you're not thinking about it feeding a narrative and how the auntie would see it.
I think people are though.
Really? Wouldn't you be more pressed about finding a solution to your issue and speaking to somebody who you feel would be qualified or who you feel you could confide in?
But this goes back
regardless
to
of
the community.
Now he's kind of moving to what I'm saying, and you're kind of adding context onto it because in that situation, your community or the group of people that you talk to are gonna have their... Obviously, not everyone is perfect, but we follow the rules of our religion, and we don't. There's no prejudice. We're not racist, basically. So obviously,
you can say no prejudice, but we're all Nigerians.
Yes, but like I said again, not everyone is perfect, but the kind of community I'm talking about, inshallah, would be free of this stuff. Perfect, so you can go back, even those kind of preconceptions wouldn't have even come from that community that you're talking to. This is why I'm talking about a core of people that you trust. You're not gonna have someone. I don't even know.
My first example, because my first example wasn't even about race.
Yeah,
it was about the thing I winked at you about. It was about you know what I'm saying, like yeah. So for example, that that would make it difficult for you to go to the Manda. So basically, what I was saying was. Okay, he knows. He already knows. I'm gonna bleep this out to make it. I'm gonna bleep this out. Yeah, let me just.
No, let's not even. Let's not discuss it. Let's leave that. If it's somebody else's business,
it's not.
That's the first example I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
The example I was gonna give, like I said, was in regards to that. I think we can all resonate with is stuff in general that our parents have told us not to do, and our parents know us knowing that he's gonna do it. But always having that trust and that relationship to the thing of, okay, I've done it now. Who do I confide in? Who do I go back to? Your parents. They told you not to do it. They told you they watched you against something. You've done it, but you always end up going back to them.
The reason I don't like the parent example is because you always kind of be able to lean on your family, but at the same time,
but it's the fact that you're leaning on them.
The boundaries with your family are kind of. They're not going to change. For example, my mum, or my dad, there's certain things that whether they like the situation or not, I'll go to them about. Mm-hmm. And there's certain things that whether they like the situation or not, I won't go to them about. Yeah. But it's not really going to be based on the situation. The individual, it will just be based on. It will be based on the situation, but it might not be based on factors within the situation. However, with your friends, for example, with your peers, you may be able to go to them based on certain situations, but based on little factors within it, it may affect how you're going to go to them. So because your parents are kind of at a level where, for example, if you was going to be talking about your wife not cooking, for example, that's a random example. That's the kind of thing you happily go to your you could go to your parents about that.
No.
I know, as in
because if your parents end up having an issue with
okay, when I say parents, what I mean is seniors, yeah. Because it's kind of like they
are you talking about this specific example of wife not cooking?
I'd say that's the kind of thing that's easier to go to seniors about, because you know with seniors that it's never going to really affect their opinion on you, because no matter what, you're just their child.
Yeah.
So it's not going. You don't care about how seniors perceive you on a day to day.
If you're talking that specific example of cooking.
No, don't get bogged down. Don't get bogged down in the specifics now.
But there's certain things that your parent that it's kind of like you don't have pride when it comes to your parents, because it's like you're below them in quote unquote anyway.
Man.
But when it comes to your friends, you want to generally people don't want their friends to perceive them in a way that makes people don't want to look dumb to their friends. They don't want to look like
Vulnerable.
They don't want to look vulnerable. They don't want to look like they were immature. They rushed into things. Those are the kind of things that you don't want your friends to think. You don't want your friends to think that you're not.
And most of the time, you want your
sensible.
friends to be, unless it's something specific, you want your friends to be less objective. You want them to be more on your side. I find that that's what people do.
Okay, so now that I've kind of explained what I meant, let's kind of circle back. And do you think that, and the reason we kind of me and Yovo's kind of started this conversation is because I think, and this, to be honest, this isn't even my point. I don't want to. This isn't even my point. This is this is what he thought, and I totally agreed with what he was saying. So I think what the kind of thing that he was trying to get us to do was just kind of think, just basically expand our minds and just like broaden our ways of thinking. And although we have things, although we're all grown and we've been through life and we have our way of doing things, just because we have our way of doing things and they might have worked for us, it doesn't mean that just because it's worked that it's the best. There may always be better ways of doing things, and
there are always going to be better ways.
Exactly. So
as we said, Allah's the best of planners.
Exactly. There are so I'm glad we've agreed that there's always a better way to do things. So now that we've kind of spoken about that, in your specific situation, like, again, you were experiencing last year, do you think that you would have found benefit or some kind of merit in having like a core group of people that you could have gone to and discussed this issue with?
No. Probably I could, but me being me, no, because I'm different.
And this, okay, hold on. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you to just say you being you.
Yeah.
This is why I can't. Yeah, I kind of want you to move out of yourself for a second and try and think about it in a different way. And it's I know it's difficult. It is difficult.
You're talking to me.
This is
me.
Yeah,
If I'm trying to
I know
get,
it's difficult.
if I'm trying to get someone to understand what I'm talking about, I'll always talk about my situation.
I want you
because
to.
that's the only way I can get across.
I want you to look outside of yourself for a second and try and see that if it wasn't you, like, do you think there may have been benefit in having? Because you've literally just said no. Point blank.
If your brother
and
came
there's
to
no
you
way
and
you
said
can tell me
the
that
best
there's
way to do it.
absolutely no benefit
If your brother
in having a group of people you could have spoken to,
and all the concerns, all the things that you're going through.
Put it this way:
if all the things you're going through, if your brother came to you and said and voiced all of these things, these concerns, these issues, blah blah blah, you're not gonna tell him.
My blood brother.
No, like just your friend, close friend, bro, your cousin. You're not gonna.
One of us.
You're not gonna go and say, keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
So you're gonna say something. So
if they came to me,
exactly. So
okay, that's a different story then.
It's not.
It's not.
It isn't.
It's
It's
just the
exactly
reverse.
what I'm
It's just
saying.
the
It's just the
mirror.
reverse. But it's the same thing.
No, because I think it depends on your personality.
What do you mean?
I think people are different. People like someone like me, I'm more practical. Like I imagine, for example, I'm not gonna say it, but when you mention the word practical, who do we think of? First person that comes to mind.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I imagine he would react in this scenario in the same way of if this person, if I'm having a situation, I'd rather have someone deal with it who is probably the most qualified to deal with it if there's a solution to be found.
Let me just hold on. 1 second.
Disqualified.
Before you continue.
Yeah.
This person,
Yes.
you're completely wrong.
Really?
You're completely wrong.
Okay.
And this is what I'm saying. No.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You're completely wrong. And this is what I'm saying.
Okay, I was wrong. But see me.
It's
I'd
mad
rather-
because he's even the person I'm talking about.
Yes. See.
In regards to
Exactly.
what?
And
This is him.
Yeah.
This is him.
What, that was in a... That was
No. This example I'm talking about. This is who I was talking to. It's him.
Cause you know,
This is his idea.
There's
Oh, okay,
There's
okay,
a
okay.
difference between, and this is something that I think is is sometimes like blurred. There's a difference between like qualified in terms of like I come to you because you can do this, and able to help. There's a difference. So qualified means
able to help.
So
for me, that's
so
the same thing.
I don't think it is. Or sometimes it is the same thing, but sometimes it's not. For example, if my leg is broken, I'm not gonna go to a
dentist
to fix my leg.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go to a surgeon to fix my leg.
Because
However,
the dentist is not qualified for that application.
However, when it comes to issues of like I've got issues. So for example, your issues. Yeah, or everywhere you're going through.
That's those issues.
Not issues. Your concerns or trials and tribulations that that were going through in that period.
Yeah.
They come to business, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
They were. Am I right in saying that they were multi-layered in that you had certain
many stuff going on at the same
you had
time.
certain factual issues. So you had certain issues that like were just. This is, for example, like. If I don't pay £10, the light goes off. That's a factual issue, yeah.
Alhamdulillah, it wasn't that, and it wasn't that.
Yeah, no,
it wasn't just that. It was the fact that. Put it this way: if it's one thing, cool, but it's the fact that so many. It's the what do you call them? The kidney stones, not the kidney stones. Infinity stones. Oh. it's like there's no it just came out of my mouth. But it's the fact that each of these things came at the same time.
Yes.
In such a situation, and that's what made it mad.
Yeah.
Life's it's not just
exactly multifaceted.
Yeah.
So it's 5 different things that some of them may be one like straight like this equals this type issues, just clear whatever. Oh, I've lost my phone, so I need a new phone. That's the issue. But some of them may be more like, for example, you said having your daughter on the way, which creates its own issues. For example, and this is not specific.
I haven't mentioned other stuff like
no. When I'm using you, I'm not using you as the actual example. I'm just referencing. Yeah. So, like for example, and this is not based on you, but so for example, if I'm thinking daughter on the way, I'm just thinking random example. I'm thinking, oh, okay, so your wife is pregnant, she's going to be going through all these types of hormone changes. You're thinking, new expenditure. You're thinking, maybe I'm going to have to build a... I know, this is not you.
You're forgetting that. You're talking...
This is not you. I'm just saying random things that could be related.
At the end of the day, it comes a lot to, like, the words pushed out a lot, but mental health. So, you're forgetting that, for example, another caveat could be, I'm someone who's come from... Bear in mind, we know that when you get married, your wealth increases and stuff. I'm someone that had a certain level of wealth, got married, and
I'm trying to move the example away from you, so it's
okay.
Cool. But basically, so what I'm saying is, the point I'm trying to drive at is that all of these issues, what you'll find is that if you live by saying if you're not qualified, like if you can't fix this issue because you've got something that I don't want to talk to you, you're never going to find anyone. That means there's no one. That means no one exists. There's nobody because so when it comes to so. If you could, that's why I'd say it's not dangerous, but I wouldn't advise having that specific mindset that I will only talk to somebody
who's qualified to fix my problem.
Because I would say qualified would mean is that if you're simple, sometimes someone's good at listening. To me, that's a qualification that means that you're a good person to talk to. Depending on what your issue is. Because
I feel like this is why
some people
completely disagree.
Yeah,
with what you said.
And just to add to that, some people are good. Some people are good at finding. Some people are good at breaking down issues into smaller problems, which you're better able to solve. That's not a qualification, but some people are just good at that. Some people are good. So, for example, my missus always says, "I'm good at rationalizing. Like, if there's like an emergency or something goes mad, she's like, oh, you're really good at like breaking it down into fixable issues, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's not something I'm qualified to. That's just something I've been found to be good at.
Yeah.
But that quality, not qualification, may be the thing that could have helped
in that whatever situation.
No, it would have. But
how do you know?
Because I know. Listen, in that situation,
before you continue, you're also contradicting yourself as well. By the way,
how?
We and the reason you're contradicting yourself in a sense that before I asked you a question, we all agreed there's always a better way to do things.
There is.
And then you now said that my alternate way of doing things, or this possible alternate way of doing things, wouldn't have worked for you. And without exploring it, you immediately discounted it. So you're contradicting
Because I
yourself.
don't want to explore it.
Okay.
We would never know. Because I didn't go through that. I didn't choose that option. Only Allah knows.
And I'm saying, and this is why I asked you a question and said that let's try and open our minds a little bit and escape ourselves for a second.
About it from a general objective.
Escape yourself.
I hear that. I hear that. But at the end of the day,
and I also asked you, do you think there's benefit in it? And you said no, completely.
Because this is me. I'm not saying I wouldn't have done what you did. I'm not saying I go every time I have something. I go and tell the I'm not the most open person in the world.
Yeah.
But what I can accept is that there is benefit to be.
Thank you. That's my point.
I did say there's benefit to it, but I just said
I don't want you to think that I'm attacking you and saying your way of doing things is wrong, because it isn't. Not at all.
What I'm saying is, I guess the thing I'm trying to say is people are different, innit? I'm very hard-headed, and when it comes to stuff like that, I rather, like I said, I'd rather think of it from a practical sense of, okay, cool. If I'm going through mental issues or whatever, I'd rather speak to a therapist. If one of my friends are in that place or whatever and I can trust them, I'll speak to them. If it's to do with, I don't know, I'm more practical in the sense of, I've got an issue, I need a solution. This person can alleviate that situation, whatever. Make the work and
you've not actually
go there.
And there's something that somebody's not a psychologist, a psychiatrist in the hospital has even said this to me before. Said this a lot of time. They're like, most people that end up in situations where they need psychiatry or situations of like
trying to say I need a psychiatrist.
No, or people, because obviously I work around liver, and so a lot of people that are self-harming, like drinking problems, that type of thing. A lot of people, or most people that end up in situations where they need professional help, it's due to a failure in the ability to get help before they get to that stage. So most people that are, you say, that depressed, for example, or not depressed, but a lot of people that are like depressed, for example, if they end up getting help and seeing maybe a psychologist or psychiatrist,
because it's too late, basically.
If they
had several stages to sort it out.
It's the only reason they need professional help is because they didn't get non-professional help before that.
Yeah.
So you could so to say you're not qualified. So this person's qualified.
I gave that as an example. You didn't need somebody
qualified. You just needed somebody before.
Nah, man.
And that's a psychiatrist that told me that.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. No.
7 years in uni, 10 years training.
No, I hear what you're saying. You're right in that regard. But what I'm saying is, maybe I can't think of a scenario right now, but for example, if I'm having it, I don't know how to say it, but if I'm having an issue, and I know that someone's versed in that area and I can trust them, or someone's, for example, a lawyer where I can pay them and they have to keep things. How do you know? And there's a level of trust there. Then what do you mean? How do I know?
So not every single problem has a professional that is trained to help that situation. Do you get what I'm saying?
Then it's a matter of perspective. Who do I think? I'll go to the person who I think is most qualified to handle my situation or to benefit me in that situation. It's a matter of benefit in that situation. When you're having an issue, you'll think who can most benefit me in the situation.
So why do people say that, like, elders?
And that's if I can't sort it out myself.
Why do people say that older people are good at?
Because they've had experience. They've had more life experience.
Exactly. So experience isn't something that is just... Obviously, it's proportional to age. The more older you are, the more likely you are to have more experiences just because of life. But however, that doesn't mean that somebody your age or somebody a bit older than you hasn't got experience.
If you've broken down on the motorway,
yes,
you know, I'm around because I have a certain level of mechanical experience, but I'm not a professional and I'm not a mechanic.
Yeah,
you're not gonna bring me your car, are you? You're gonna go to a proper mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
there are people in life who you know are good. It doesn't have to be. You don't need to have a degree. You don't need to have paperwork. But you know that if I've got an issue with a certain, for example, let me give another example.
Let me just.
If you guys, want to buy a car or something, someone said, I've got 5 cars, I'll give you one for free, but you don't know nothing about the cars, chances are you're gonna come to me and say, okay, this person's I've got an issue. This person's offering me blah blah blah. I don't know nothing about it. Tell me more, because I know you're into your cars.
Okay, cool. So
because you believe I'm most qualified in that situation from the people you know to offer you advice.
Do you know what?
I've got a perfect response to that.
Do you know what? Yeah. Okay, you go.
Okay, see how you said if your car's broken down the motorway, yeah. Cool. Then you'll call professional. I'm not just gonna call you.
Yeah.
Okay. If my car breaks down,
hold on.
Yeah, I was hearing that as well. Yeah.
What's that?
Someone's outside, didn't it? I think on the phone, pick it. Mike's
One of
picking
my
it up.
neighbours.
But if my car's broken down down the road from here, yeah, I'm not broken down. If my tire goes flat, the best person to call to pump my tire is going to be professional, isn't it?
Yeah.
However, it's just pumping a tire.
Yeah.
It's not. You don't need expertise. I can pump a tire. You can pump a tire.
Yeah.
don't look up. Do you know what I mean? So that's.
But with that comes back to if I can't sort it myself, and I said that.
Yeah. So
that's if you can't sort out the situation myself, and I'm no one to talk. Me as a person, I'll rather whatever situation. You know what, I'll rather sort it myself first.
The response I had for your example, of you gave an example. If there's 5 different cars, you don't know anything about the car, so I might call you who knows about cars.
Yeah.
Even though you may have a specific role in helping me solve this specific problems,
you still go to the professional.
Not even that. I can still talk to someone that knows nothing about. For example, my wife doesn't know anything about cars.
Yeah.
But I might ask her, which one of these cars do you think? Hold on, let me finish. Let me finish. Hold on.
Yeah.
And because she knows me, she might be able to say, I think you might look nice in that car, or this car. Hold on, or this car might, or this car might. Exactly. Or wait, hold on. Or this car might suit you best because she knows me. But she knows nothing about the subject matter.
That's your wife. You go to your wife about.
No, I'm not. Okay, it might not be my wife. It might be Abdul Malik. There's no nothing. Don't get bogged down in the specifics. It might not be my wife. It might just be. It might be my mum. Just someone that knows me. But
this is the thing.
The point.
Wait, hold
on.
People are different.
You're missing my point. The point I'm making is it doesn't always need to be someone that knows everything about what you're going through that can help you. In that example I've just given, the person that I've referred to, maybe my wife, my mum might be Abdul Malik, doesn't know anything about cars, but they know me.
I get that.
They know me.
That's
the point I'm driving at.
No, you know the clicking thing.
Oh, I hear that.
Man, I hear that still. I felt that one still.
But again, like I've said, regardless of the fact that people know me or whatever, that's just the way I am. I'll rather go to someone that I feel can help me in that situation.
Let me touch on something else here.
And that's if I go to someone. If I feel I can sort it out myself, I'll sort it out myself. If I feel like no one can help me, I'll sort it out myself.
Okay.
And that's what I did.
So, you know, like the way I am thing. Yeah?
Sorry, you might have to open that window again.
Yeah, because it's bacon. The way I am, yeah. Like, so, and I'm pretty like, okay, should we be in at 15? Should we be the same at 30 years old? Between 50, the ages 15 and 30?
Probably not.
No, you would evolve.
Probably not.
Cool. So, there we've shown acceptance, and I'm sure there's going to be improvements here, or we'd hope anyway. So if you can accept that the way you are 15 years ago and the way you are now, you should have improved and evolved. Here and now, if we're offered chances to explore, develop, whatever, I'm not saying that we should do everything that's said, but we should explore these different ways of thinking, different ways of behaving, different ways of acting, because it may be good for us, no? Not just
in theory, it may be good for us.
Yeah. So to explore, but say no, this is how I am. Because I'm assuming you want to be a better person, or we want to be better people.
Of course.
In 15 years' time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know myself.
But you knew yourself 15 years ago, no? Or 10 years ago.
Of course I did.
But you're not the same.
No.
So what changed?
I don't know.
Abdullah! You frustrate me. You frustrate me.
Anyway, long story short, I know myself in it, and how I think is that if I've got an issue,
You know what? Yeah.
first of all, my wife's my partner in life.
Yeah.
My wife's my best friend. I'll rather discuss it with her, go through her. She's we're in a household together. If it's an issue that would, like, let's say, affect me to the point that, because I'm not going to talk about my.
Yeah, you don't have to get personal.
If it's a thing that, let's say there's a guy, and if it's a situation where it will affect him to the point where people around him can visibly see that, okay, this guy's he's going through issues. Like, he would do this, but he's doing this, blah blah blah. No, silly stuff like normally Fred will make pancakes in the morning, but today he made a cupcake. I don't know. Some silly stuff. People that, like you said, know you. Then cool. That's a different story than. Yeah. I'm waffling now.
I don't want you to think that.
I would discuss it with. I'll discuss it with my wife.
Yeah.
Because naturally, like you said, discussing things with people that are close to you makes you feel better.
Yeah.
I don't think we even need to get, because for me this conversation is not about us three in particular.
Yeah, and
it doesn't need to.
Yeah. No, go on. I'll go when you finish.
Do you know? I think write this. I beg you, write this down here, because I actually want to get, because there's another part to this conversation, and it relates to all those things I mentioned at the beginning, backbiting, shame, speaking out against in-house things, keeping it in-house, blah blah blah. That I actually want to get. I don't want to get too deep into that, because in terms of the Islamically what's best, because obviously there's no Islamic issue with talking about your problem for the sake of achieving better in the situation.
Yeah.
But in terms of how that actually translates on a day-to-day life basis, I think it would be good to actually get some more knowledgeable insight on how that translates to day-to-day life. Yeah. So I might, maybe next week, Sean, I'll
invite a psychologist or something.
I might need
Abby, again.
No offense to Abby. No, but I mean, like, maybe we'll call in. I'll get maybe like Ustad, maybe I'll just say, can we call you for like 15 minutes to discuss this, maybe, or somebody else, because I think it's a interesting discussion that we can talk about it now between ourselves as well. But because I think that's the bit that will always be a sticking point for certain people. Because as soon as somebody says, because somebody could easily have said, in response to everything Ib said at the beginning, I'm not going to talk about any issues that involve my home situation because it may involve backbiting. And it's very difficult for Ibs to then say, nah, but do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's just the principle of Islam, you know.
It's not going to be difficult to say, I don't think it is. You don't have to backbite.
Avoiding, but just, you know, that general principle that, like, the removal of harm comes before the bringing about of good. Yeah. So anything basically it's best to be on the safe side.
Like I said, the example I cited when I started, the example I gave of the brother that came to the group chat and laid his problem out. He didn't backbite when he said it. Yes. No, exactly. Yeah, but so that's what I mean.
But he did talk about stuff to do that is personal with him within his household.
Yes.
And see me, I could never do that.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. That's people are different, and you just need to accept that.
But the thing is,
hold on. You saying that people are different, I completely understand it. I completely understand that. However, the same person you're talking about
is the person you would have expected to be on your wave.
Is the person the same person you're talking about is the person that you thought would agree with you
on your wave, but he's not on your
and it's completely different.
On my days, you know what? I was thinking it was. I'm thinking of a different situation, you know.
Still,
but
I'm thinking of a different situation. I didn't even think of that situation. Yes, but yes, I think the same thing applies.
Yeah, just one thing I just want to clarify as well. I don't want you or anyone to think that this was kind of like a personal attack on you or your way of thinking. I think it was.
This wouldn't be.
It was kind of it was an opportunity. I think. Obviously, you mentioned the stuff you're going through, and I guess it just linked
was just
in.
a vessel for the conversation. It wasn't the
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I can say for myself that what we're talking about in the chat, as much as I respected it and all that type of stuff, I can't imagine myself doing that. But not because I think there's anything wrong with it. I can't imagine myself doing it. However, I can accept, or maybe say that is the reasons I can't see myself doing it may not be great reasons. They're just my reasons, isn't it? And so I'm trying to, and I like I said, what I was saying, when you're 15, when you're 30, I try anyway to constantly look at ways to broaden my mind or whatever, that type of thing. And
but we all do. But for me, that's just not an avenue that I don't.
But it may not be how the way that was done specifically, but it may be in another way.
I'm not even talking about that situation.
But there's barriers, and those barriers.
I'm just talking about being. I don't even know why I'm surprised with me being hard-headed with this, because naturally I'm not. I'm not open.
None of us are surprised.
I'm not. So what's all the theatrics? Just anyway. I'm not an open person in general anyway. And naturally, in fact, talking of this, there's been issues I've had with people because, and this is not even recently, this is time ago, there's issues with multiple people I've had because they're like, oh, I've been open with you, but you never come to me with your problems. And I'm like, that's silly. Why would you, that doesn't make any sense. So you're getting upset because I don't come to you with my problem. I'm not like you. People are different. Everybody has problems. But I don't. You know me. You know I'm not the type of person to be going out and say. And if I do, you know that is a peak situation, and I'm speaking to you because I want advice from you. I know you can help with it. I told you before, we've all got mentals in life.
Yeah.
I've got Ahmed. I speak to Ahmed about certain issues that I probably wouldn't speak to you about. I speak to him about deep issues. Same way, there's probably stuff I wouldn't speak to Ahmed about that I speak to someone else. Because these are, and why did I say Ahmed? Because like I said, I've labelled that person a mentor in my life, in life experience. In my head, that person's qualified. And that's why I said, it's all subjective in regards to who you deem as qualified to deal with certain issues or to speak to about certain issues.
Yeah. I feel like just bouncing off of you.
If I had an issue in marriage, for example, I wouldn't speak. I've naturally got a rule that I'm not speaking to a soul about it, whether it be family or not. Who I would go to is somebody who deals with marriage issues and who is sworn to secrecy.
Which I respect, yeah.
And if it goes to family or whatever, that's literally the last resort to the point where it's going to get to them because they are family anyway. Because by that time, God forbid, I would be there, blah blah blah. But before then, not a soul knows apart from someone who's qualified, and who I deem as qualified is somebody who deals with marriage issues and who's certificated in that instance, in that scenario. Cool. And who was sworn to secrecy. Yeah.
I think another thing as well. I think let's remove it on here. So this is what I think is more not beneficial, but a bit different in that the barriers that exist in people feeling open to say any issues they're having or seek help from their community for any issues, whether that's financial. And I'm trying to keep it focus on things that aren't to do with, that don't heavily involve somebody else. Like any issues, so maybe struggling to get a job, struggling for money, struggling to find a wife, struggling to, let's leave it as that. Cool. That's a couple, just to name examples, just to give some context. There are currently barriers that exist that stop people from feeling comfortable to express. So a few of them I'd say are things like not wanting to come across as being lesser than. Yeah. So for example, generally, I think we've all said it. Within brothers and within the community, there exists a healthy competition, I'd say. But with any competition, as much as a competition, you could say healthy. Again, that's subjective. Yeah, I think it's subjective as well because
me, I'm not in competition.
Not healthy, but as in generally.
Nothing.
I have no competition. Alhamdulillah.
That's why I said right.
that's just how I feel. People are different.
No, but when I say healthy competition, what I mean is in that the success of other people motivates you to get motivates you to be successful. No?
That's healthy competition. Yeah,
that's healthy competition.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you saw that let's say you saw that I just got some $1 million tech deal, like business merger, some mad thing, yeah. If that's something that you're inshallah, if that's something that you're around, it will elevate your mind to say, okay, there was more to be done.
I don't think that's competition. I think that's inspiration.
Healthy competition.
I'd say healthy competition and inspiration.
How is that a healthy competition?
Because it
motivates you to do better in whatever you're doing, or inspires you, whatever.
What's the definition of competition? Is where you are effectively competing and evaluating and comparing yourself to,
because we're getting bogged down in
comparing your
No, you're just saying don't forget my point. But yeah, don't.
Actually, no, complete your point. I was just gonna say literally 2 seconds. Literally comparing yourself to someone, and with comparison, if you end up comparing yourself to someone, I don't think that's ever gonna lead you to a good place. But
no, I think it can lead you to a good place, but it depends on the mindset. But the thing is, and it's kind of basically kind of what you're saying, is that sometimes within healthy competition, quote unquote, you always get, and that's why maybe the term healthy competition is a bit of a nonsense, because it's only healthy to the people who are benefiting from it. So you never know. So imagine there's 10 of us in the group chat, I think I've said this before, that are in healthy competition. If the person in 10th place, the competition may not feel healthy to them anymore. So if we've said, oh yeah, everybody, when you make this,
and isn't that a fitna?
Exactly, partly, yeah, it is. So it is. So that's one of the things, for example, that I'd say within men, for example, that can affect a man going to another man.
Yeah.
Because if what seemed like, you know, if what basically that feeling that you're less than, or feeling that you're not performing as well, because a lot of the time with men, that's what we said before. Men, in terms of like how we judge,
men have egos.
In terms of how we judge we align our manhood. Part of the ability to provide, for example.
Men have pride and egos.
It's part of our manhood. It's attached to our manhood.
Yeah.
So like barriers. So how do we get rid of those barriers?
These barriers, and this is what we're trying. This is what I'm trying to say. This is what I was agreeing with. That let's get rid of these barriers, and in order to remove these barriers, people need to change their mindset. That's what it needs to be. To being more open, people need to change. If you want to, these barriers exist because these barriers exist because of the way our society is, because of the way we're kind of programmed and wired as a society to keep things to ourselves for whatever reasons we have. And if we're trying to achieve this, where we want to get to a place where we have an open community and we seek advice from other people who may not have similar experiences but might know you and might know better ways to solve things, people need to change their mindset.
Repeat that to me again in regards to the barriers and how that links to feeling less than.
That was I don't
understand. So if people have issues, or
if for example I have a personal problem, let's say I don't know, I've lost my job and I can no longer provide for my family. I'm now having to go outside to borrow money. I might not want to tell you that, because that might make me feel like less of a man if my friend knows how vulnerable I am in a situation. So that might be a barrier that stops me from talking to my friend.
Do you know what I'd say? The easiest barrier, the first barrier that we need to get, the first thing to reduce these barriers is gossip.
What do you mean?
So the fact that gossip exists.
Yeah.
What gossip does in the community. If you have gossip within a community, it creates a feeling that nothing is secure.
Yeah.
No information is secure. Even amongst people that you
know. Yes, and obviously the kind of scenario I'm trying to paint, obviously it's to be honest, I want to kind of say
a lot of the time, for example, me, I might not care about Ibs knowing.
Yeah.
But I would maybe not want Ibs's missus, who's maybe a friend of my wife's cousin,
knowing.
So there's that. So and that's why gossip destroys community because gossip breeds mistrust.
Yeah,
So I think that's one of the biggest.
I kind of feel like in this scenario I might be painting. I don't want to call it a dream scenario because I don't think it is. I think it's something that's easily achievable if everybody's on the same wavelength. I don't think it's a dream scenario, but in that kind of scenario, gossip wouldn't exist because you're talking to people that you trust and you know that without having to tell them that this invitation.
Okay, now
I understand. I do understand, but
the
again,
nature of people is that.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the sole reason. Because
it's not the sole reason, no.
Yeah,
it's not. It's just one of
There's gossip's not the only reason for someone to not want to talk.
Yeah, of course, of course, it's not. But I think,
and that's what. So you know, backbiting.
Yeah,
backbiting is about when you think of the wisdom behind the outlawing and the harsh punishment, severe punishment for backbiting. It's not because of somebody going to go to their friend for help about their wife or about their cousin not being nice to them. It's not because of that. It's because of the gossip and the destruction of the gossip. That's the real reason. That's the real wisdom behind us not being able to behind the strong punishment and the fact that backbiting is such a major sin. It's because it causes this type of thing in societies to the point where now people are not able to even talk to the closest people about anything. People are not even able to feel comfortable about asking for help, asking for a job when they don't have a job because of the fear of that becoming widespread news. Yeah. And that's what backbiting does. I'm not worried. And that's what gossiping does. Sorry. No, but that's why. That's why. You talking my business?
Like I said, I'll punch you up
every single time.
Every single time. I'll tell you something. I don't need to say it again. You guys know how much I emphasis I put on people talking about business.
But yeah, to kind of leave it there, I think that's and I don't want to kind of claim any sort of credit for this because it wasn't me. This idea wasn't mine. It was obviously a brother that I look up to, and is a proper real role model for me. So I think the kind of...
Do you think there's more?
Huh?
Do you think there's more? Clear barriers to... We should go for another time.
We can go for another time, but to be honest, I think to the biggest barrier to that at the moment, I think is just people themselves. That's what I think, and that willingness to not want to open your mind and explore other things. That's what I think it is. I think, I said this in the conversation yesterday. I just think I think because everyone's grown and because everyone has got on with their life and they've done things that they're happy with, everybody thinks that their way of doing things is maybe not the best way, but it's their philosophy. They're stuck in their ways, and men are naturally stubborn, innit?
Listen,
men are naturally stubborn, I think, sometimes, and because everyone's done that, they've lived their life, they have their experiences, they have their families, everything. Everybody thinks that their way doesn't need to be changed, or just the way that they do things is the way that they. So I think the biggest barrier at the moment is people.
My thing is, I know myself very well, alhamdulillah. And I have a protocol and I have a certain way, I have a certain rule book for how I handle certain situations.
That's exactly what I just said.
And that's how I do it.
That's exactly what I just said. Exactly what I just said.
So
when you
I
say,
don't think I'm like that though. I actually don't think I'm like that.
So when you say people need to, everybody needs to expand and expand, but try new things or whatever, you can understand how that doesn't resonate with me when it comes to that specific situation.
But I think he's talking
about
generally.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that specific situation though, because if you open yourself
I'm talking about not the specific situation itself, but the thing of opening up and speaking to people openly about your issues, whether it be openly or whether it be multiple people. Same thing to me. I'm not someone who's comfortable putting my business out there, whether it's be people I trust or not. The fact is, my business is out there.
Yeah,
and that's what it is to me. And yeah. What are you gonna say, bro?
I don't want to keep on going around in circles here because I don't disagree with you. because exactly neither am I. I don't feel comfortable with everyone knowing my business, which is why I see myself as I think I'm quite a private person. I don't tell everyone my business. So, but what I am open to, and I mean this, and it's weird because I feel like I'm talking at the same time. I feel like I'm throwing shade, and I mean this with absolutely no shade intended. But I just feel like because I wholeheartedly agree that there's always a better way of doing things. I'm more open to exploring those better ways, and I feel like it's our responsibility to find those better ways. If it's not just to better ourselves, it's to teach our kids and to better the next generation.
I'm the same way, but like I said, in that same scenario, in that specific thing, like I'm like that with other things in life, but with that specific thing.
And I'm not talking about that specific thing.
And I keep saying I'm not talking about the specific situation, but I'm talking about just opening yourself. I'm not talking about the situation that we spoke about. I'm talking about opening yourself, being open, talking to people more.
Yeah,
I'm not that way inclined.
Okay.
See me. It's easy to get something out of me if I trust you to speak to you about that situation and it can benefit me. If I know there's a benefit to speaking to you about this issue, I'll speak to you about the issue. If there's no benefit, I'll never tell you, no matter how hard you pray. But if there's a benefit, it's not going to be hard to pray. I might even come to you. That's just me.
Fair enough.
And like I said, I'm very practical with it. But you're going to say something, bro. I can't remember.
I think, I think we can wrap up there. I think, I'll get to that in a second. I just think,
it's good to evolve, but if something works for you, then
let me do. I'll close. I'll close on what I was gonna say. I'll close on it. But yeah, just to quickly switch to our kind of reminder for the week. What was my reminder? I think my reminder was just on. It's something that we can easily fall into, and just kind of something that we want to avoid, and it's just about kind of I want to say, kind of joking and making jokes about other people, and kind of link that in with forgiveness as well. I guess the main point is forgiveness, but I think one of the things you want to always try and avoid is making jokes at the expense of other people. I think that falls into backbiting now. Yeah. So I think that's something that one kind of things we've always kind of had hammered into us as kind of kids, and it's always the example of if you make a joke about someone in a room and everyone is laughing except that person, that joke isn't funny. So I think, and to kind of tie that in with forgiveness, we know Allah is Allah and He will forgive us for all sins apart from obviously shirk, and a hadith based on that is what I'm looking for. Anas radiallahu anhu said, I heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, Allah the Exalted has said, O son of Adam, I shall go on forgiving you as long as you pray to me and aspire for my forgiveness, whatever may be your sins. O son of Adam, I do not even care if your sins should pile up to the sky and you should beg pardon of me, I would forgive you. O son of Adam, if you come to me with an earth full of sins and meet me not associating anything with me in worship, I will certainly grant you as much pardon as will fill the earth. So obviously we know Allah's stance on forgiveness, and Allah is subhanAllah, Allah is the most forgiving. And sometimes even when we're not deserving of forgiveness, Allah will forgive us. However, man is not built the same way. And if you offend someone, that person, although we're encouraged to try and forgive one another, that person may not forgive you for that thing. And that one kind of joke you might have made about someone that's embarrassed somebody might be the difference between you going to Jannah, you going to Jahannam, and obviously you don't want that basically on the day of judgment. You don't want that person coming back to you on the day of judgment and saying, you made a joke about me when we were kids and brother, I've come to collect in it. So we want to try and avoid making jokes about people as much as possible. And basically that's my mind. Just like
when you say that thing about forgiveness and obviously Allah, they don't have the justice here, they have the justice there. They're like at the end of Allah, like even your parents.
Yeah.
When it comes to that day.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like,
no one's gonna have your back.
No
one's gonna have your back.
So the importance to not owe anybody anything when you leave this world, whether that's you cheating them in some way, you offend them in some way, so anything that any wrong you've done to somebody, it's not worth it because what that can cost you.
Right.
And you know your boy when it comes to your boy is not gonna be your boy. Your mum is not gonna be your mum. Everyone's gonna run from themselves. They'll run from you. Yeah. So it's emotional, man. So it's something to bear in mind. That wronging another person is something stay far away from it. Because once you've done it, you're at their mercy. Obviously, ultimately you're at Allah's mercy. Yeah. But Allah, we know Allah is just. He said He's just, and what is just is that person has recompense for you hurting them. Yeah. And because of Allah being just, He will give them that recompense, whether that's the rewards they get for forgiving you, or the good deeds that they will owe they'll be able to take from you. Yeah. Which is the worst case scenario.
And so, tying back to the topic that we discussed today, just in regards to benefits in this life, if you're someone who's known for not backbiting or shutting it down when it occurs, you then become someone who's known to be trustworthy. And when you're known to be trustworthy, again, that can contribute to today's argument in regards to what makes a better, more open community. Yeah. And that and the answer to that is, again, having lots of people who are trustworthy. Yeah. Again, it's not everything, as we said, gossip eliminating the element of gossiping is not gonna be the main cause. It's not gonna be the sole reason to make everybody open, but it does help.
Yeah, so I think
naturally you'll see that people come to you with your issues.
Yeah.
As we know.
To kind of close, I think, that's kind of the I don't know, kind of thing I want to just kind of be moving towards, and I think just trying to look at ourselves under a microscope. And if we know, again, like I said before, if we know that there's always a better way of doing things, I feel like it's upon us, it's our responsibility to find those better ways of doing things. And if it's not for us, it's for the next generation, so we can teach our kids and so our children can be better than us. So, and that's not just in terms of having an open community like we discussed today. It's challenging your own way of thinking. It's challenging your own viewpoints on certain things. I remember I was watching, I can't remember the name of it. It was this documentary on Netflix, and it was the social media one. I can't remember what it was called. It was a really, really popular. It was a social media documentary, and I can't remember exactly what it was talking about. But one of the main points I took away from that was just about the way your feeds and the way that your TLs are designed in a way that they only show you things that you agree with. Yeah. And that, for example, let's just look at politics. You can have your TL and you might be, let's say you might be Labour. You can have your TL and your TL is showing you things about how what the Conservatives are doing is so bad, and how what Labour is trying to do is better, and Jeremy Corbyn and blah 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 blah. And you're seeing all of this, and you're thinking to yourself, how can anybody see this and still be conservative? But you don't know that on the other side, they're thinking the exact same thing. Them conservative man are looking at their TL that has all the exact same or the exactly opposing information, and they're thinking to themselves, how can anybody look at this and still side with Labour? So that's an example, but I think it's always about trying to just challenge yourself, challenge your own way of thinking. And if that means the advice that they gave from that documentary, I can't remember what it was called, but I'll try and find the name of it and link it. But the advice they gave was follow people that have different opinions to yours. Don't always follow people that you agree with. Don't always be so sensitive.
Within reason.
Yeah, obviously, within reason, but don't always be so sensitive and think that the only thing you want to look at is people that agree with you. Have contrasting opinions, because people think that way for a reason. And although you may think that your way of thinking is best, again, like I've said, accept that there is always a way, there's always a better way of doing things. And this doesn't mean I'm saying that I want conservative. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying.
You know it.
But yeah, that's basically just what I'm trying to say. Just challenge your.
Man,
Yeah. So yeah, that's been episode 35 of Jollof After Jummah. Get involved in the conversation. I genuinely want to know what people think about this. So please,
if you have any
topics, is going to be clipping and putting some social media clips.
I will. Yes. Yeah.
If you have any topic suggestions, leave it in the
show
comments or
so
DM us.
DM us, please. I genuinely, or even if it's the man them, feel free to bring it up in group chats. I want to talk about this. I want to know what people think.
Yes, man, LBC.
So yeah, that's been us. Please let us know what you think. Get involved in the conversation. You can DM us or comment under the YouTube or the Instagram. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, again, DM us. If you're new around here, subscribe. If you're not new around here and you watch our videos,
suggestions.
Might as well subscribe.
You can say
If there's stuff that you want us to talk about or you want our opinion on, feel free to just comment or let us know or DM us on things you want us to talk about.
100.
Socials are the socials, Jollof After Jummah on the YouTube and the Instagram, and JJ_pod on
Make sure you
Twitter.
like.
Yep, make sure you like.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alright, that's done.